Let's move on to an interesting one. Main topic number 3. And our third main topic today gets submitted to us by John Ross. And John Ross writes, the Globe and Mail, that's a Canadian major newspaper, by the way, is reporting that the decision for Warner Brothers to make their 2021 slate of films available on streaming day and date with the theatrical release will only be in the U.S. All other jurisdictions, including Canada, will stick to the normal 90-day window. Won't this lead to a severe piracy problem for Warner Brothers? Okay, thanks for sending that in. And yeah, listen, that has been something that we started talking about, particularly when it comes to the new streaming industry, about a year ago when The Mandalorian was coming out. You remember this? Mandalorian was coming out. Everybody in the world was talking about it, but Disney Plus was not going to be available in most countries by the time it launched. And we on this show speculated, and we were right, is that Mandalorian is going to become one of the most pirated pieces of content in the history of media. And sure enough, it was pirated a hell of a lot. Now we have a situation where certain territories are going to be able to have some of these streaming movies that HBO Max is going to be putting out on their service available in certain countries, but not in most of them. In most of them, you're going to have to go to your closed down movie theater that is still not open because of COVID in order, if you want to hope to see it, which is going to, again, open the door for piracy. As a matter of fact, Bloomberg just did a great article on this the other day, talking about how they are already seeing massive spikes in piracy, particularly when it comes to the premium video on demand, like they did with Mulan. As they talk about in this article, Mulan, which did a premium video on demand, was pirated twice as much as Lion King was, which was just put on, this that just had a totally different rollout sort of thing. Twice as many people pirated Mulan, even though Mulan wasn't going to make more money than the Lion King did, and it wasn't even that good of a movie. Mulan wasn't even that good. I mean, it was all right, but a lot of people didn't like it. But it saw massive spikes in piracy. Rob, particularly when we're talking about this situation here where HBO Max is going to stream it into people's homes, movies like Wonder Woman, Dune, Godzilla vs. Kong, whatever, they're going to be streaming it into millions and millions, tens of millions of people's homes, while there are billions of other people around the world who will not have access to the movie on that level. They're going to have to go to whatever movie theaters might be open around them to see it. Bloomberg suggests, and I think they're right, that this is going to lead to an even bigger piracy issue for Warner Brothers. Now, I think that piracy issue will get alleviated a bit once HBO Max does start spreading out to other territories, but we're still a year or more away from that kind of happening, having like real saturation for it. Rob, what do you think about this notion? Is this move going to lead to an even bigger piracy problem for Warner Brothers at this point?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it is, look, I don't know why in this day and age, piracy is still an issue. I mean, I think it's more out of habit than anything else, because once things are available, you can see them. But yeah, I do think it's going to, anything that comes out day and date, anything that causes people to be able to say like, hey, I got a copy of this, we're going to watch it at home. And as a former video pirate myself, I know that there is that kind of joy of acquiring something early that you can see and show your friends, or even have bragging rights and say that you have it. I think it is problematic. And I guess if you're releasing something day and date on TV, you must have already taken into consideration it's going to get pirated, because once it's broadcast, you're done. You're done. It's all around the world. So
the one thing I would say is it is a problem that I also believe is a temporary problem, because look, in my estimation, when I look back on history about music piracy, right? When I look back on history, and you remember Napster, some of you may not have been around while Napster was the big thing. I mean, that was the thing that disrupted everything. Napster came out, everybody could easily just go and steal songs online. It was super easy. To me, Rob, what ultimately killed Napster was not all the RIAA lawsuits. It wasn't all the litigation. It wasn't all the suing. That's not the stuff to me that killed Napster. What really killed Napster to me, in my estimation, was Apple's iTunes started this revolution where, oh, you can buy individual songs digitally on iTunes. I think it was for 99 cents. 99 cents a song. And what you started seeing after that was a sharp decline in music. It didn't disappear, but you saw a decline in music piracy. I believe, and maybe I'm naive for believing the basic goodness of humanity, but whatever, we'll go there for now. I believe that for the vast, vast, vast majority of people, if you offer us as consumers an easy, convenient way to access content for a reasonable price, we as consumers are more than happy to pay for that content. And so when Apple at the time, and now the music model's totally different now. Now it's totally a monthly subscription-based model. But at the time, when Apple said, hey, look how easy it is. If you get your favorite song, 99 cents, just open up iTunes, click buy, boom, you've got it. When that started happening, I believe that sent the signal to the rest of content creators. If you provide an easy, accessible, convenient way at a reasonable price for people to access your content, you're going to be good and you're going to see a dip. It's not going to eliminate piracy, but you're going to see a dip. Rob, though, right now we're in a situation where this transition period we're into a streaming world means HBO Max cannot offer that easy, convenient, non-hassle way to acquire their content because it's not going to be available in 90% of the countries around the world when they start doing it. So you now have this battleground where, again, you're not offering people an easy, convenient way to download it reasonably and legally at a convenient price. And therefore, I think once HBO Max starts to saturate the market, once Disney Plus is now penetrated and is going to be in 90% of the countries around the world, once all that happens, I don't think it's going to be a real significant problem anymore. But in the meantime, I think it will be. What do you think about that thesis of mine?
Look, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, people want ultimately in this day and age, we live in a world now, it's over 20 years old, where you can click on something, you download it, and you own it. And all of media, all the things that we consume as media, whether it's music, whether it's movies, it's all just data. It's all just files, and you can get it and watch it. Now, the problem with that is it's really hard to value files. Software, certainly all the software companies move to a licensing model. You know, you want to use editorial software, you license their software and you keep paying for it once a year as opposed to like buying new updates in a box with physical date. Remember that? You'd go buy a piece of software and it would come in a box
Yep.
and a CD-ROM or whatever. You'd load it onto your computer. Well, that quickly, people would pass those things around. But if you have a licensing fee, then people are like, oh, okay, I'll download it. And it's just easier that way. You can get updates so once people are conditioned to that, like 99 cents is only 99 cents. I'll download that. And I think that you're probably absolutely right about that. It was a combination of the novelty, the ease, the 99-cent price tag. You didn't have to buy a lot of filler. Like you get an album and you only like 2 songs on it anyway. So you download those 2 songs, like you said. And I just think it's a better way of doing business. But up until then, look, I got a letter on my show from somebody, I think it was from Indonesia, and they have their local broadcast television stations show things that are illegal downloads because they can't get them any other way. You know, there's people broadcasting illegal stuff, or there's internet channels that allow them to get illegal things because they're not being available. When I went to Israel back in 2005 to show a film that I'd made, I had so many people come up to me and they're like, listen, we buy a lot of pirated stuff because they just don't release it here. How do you feel about that? And I'm like, well, what else are you supposed to do? You know, if you can't get it legally, and you want to see it, I don't see that there's an alternative. Life is too short. There's too many places. Like, I want to see a movie that I can't get in the United States. I'll order it from Amazon in Europe or Amazon Japan. Or look, man, to be honest, John, last night I ordered a bootleg Blu-ray of Pink Floyd The Wall, Alan Parker's Pink Floyd The Wall. I won't say where I got it, but it's not on Blu-ray. And I've wanted Pink Floyd The Wall. It's a grail disc for me. And this guy made one, and I'm like, click. And I felt guilty about it for like 2 seconds. And then I'm like, I'm going to get Pink Floyd The Wall on Blu-ray.
But you already own Pink Floyd. You already own Pink Floyd The Wall, right?
But only
it's not
on
in
DVD.
Blu-ray. Right, but not in Blu-ray.
Yeah,
right.
And I want the high definition version. And I'm like, why can't I get it? Like, I want to buy Pink Floyd The Wall, but because of somebody's music rights or whatever, I can't get that movie. And if somebody's going to make it available to me, I'll buy it.
Yeah. And but it goes down to the basic principle of supply and demand, right? Like, it's like even when Napster disappeared, right? Even once Napster disappeared and Sean Parker's thing kind of went kaput, the demand for that was still around. And so you had other ways to go around and get the music that was getting pirated, right? But again, to me, it all comes down to that model that when iTunes came, what really started to then curb piracy was when iTunes made an easy, convenient, at a reasonable price way for everybody to get the content that they want without having to pirate. Piracy still existed after that, for sure. But that made a much bigger dent in piracy than, say, lawsuits against Napster or the closing of Napster or the closing of this pirate site or whatever. It was giving people an easy way to do it. And I think once these streaming services figure out a way to do that as well, and they will get there, then I don't think piracy will be as big of a problem. It's still going to be an issue for sure. But for now, massive spikes in it, and I think we can expect to see that for a little while.
John,
anyway, guys, oh, yes.
I was going to show you something.
What is it?
Speaking of piracy, here is True Lies
on Blu-ray. Which does not exist anywhere.
Nope. Just saying. It exists in my house.
There you go.
I mean, I do not understand why James Cameron's Lightstorm has not released 4 of their films in the United States. True Lies, The Abyss, Strange Days, and Soderbergh's remake of Solaris. Why haven't they? I mean, I've been waiting 4 years. True Lies is a bootleg, and I have 2. I have a German version of Strange Days and a German version of Solaris, but I can't get them here. Everybody wants the director's cut of The Abyss on Blu-ray or 4K, and we can't get it. Why?
This is a question people have been asking for a long time. Question is, guys, what do you think about this? Bloomberg and other reporting that these massive spikes in piracy as a result of this transition period. Do you think this will be a temporary problem? Do you think it's going to be a long-term problem? What do you think is going to solve it? Jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.